Okay, so the segment is urban sneaker. The gender is unisex. Price is high, so we don't have any problems with the materials. We have the style is more like performance looking, but it still is an urban sneaker, and it is a 90s basketball inspiration. The weight is light. So also, Jesus has made his own mood board, which is good, so that he also, selects and decides which are the most inspiring forms and shapes and lifestyle, whatever that he likes. So it is always better to make your own mood board. I think it's important because it is where the authenticity comes from. And then now we see the ideation. So what he does, like also I do usually, I start with the lateral designs. I do a lot of them. The concept is there, so it is like a cage of the first material, and then you have the second layer inside. And also, Jesus, if you want to explain it, like better than me, because I am looking at them and I see for me it's like both is EVA and one is harder, and then inside I can have this yellow part which is captured, which is really foamy and more comfy, like a lower density EVA. And I think it's a very good example of how we should explore many forms and concepts before moving on with one. So this is very important. I always emphasize it and underline it. Too many also not very well done sketches, but do them. So I think, like they are all very interesting, but then he moved on with this design, and I really appreciated the fact that keeping the base and applied the guides to your design. I think it's a good idea. I see the page I have in the course for big volume soles. The maximum volume, we have the heel spring, the toe spring. They are not 100%, they should be like that, but I am following more the foot anatomy and the walking and the healthy, anatomically correct kind of chunky sole. We can always go and do the Balenciaga stuff, which is insanely high, and I mean, they are not even easy to walk on, but here we are exploring more the chunky, more healthier kind of sole design. So now we have the black and white here, but I will go to the colored one. First of all, the rendering is really nice. Congratulations. And I really love the idea of exploring a lot of also button designs. You see, there are a lot of them, and then in the end, Jesus had said, okay, I will go on with this one because this one is also is connecting all these topographic organic shapes. And then we have this shape, which is a very futuristic architecture, I guess, right?
Yeah, it is.
Yes, okay. So I see where you're coming from, and that's also important to apply what you see on your mood board as a concept, as forms that I can see it, like you have these two images that capture the most. So what you did is you carried them, one of them on the lateral side, and then you have this more like organic topographic inspiration, which is also very good for basketball because we always have these cuts, micro textures, but this is not really for playing basketball. This is more like a basketball, 90s basketball inspired, but I see it more like an urban sneaker, right? What do you think?
Yeah, I was kind of just blending both,
Yeah.
like performance with kind of like urban lifestyle.
Yeah, you can still play basketball, of course. You can, like be in the court outside, do your stuff because it's very cushioned and it's, like it goes really high on the top line, so it's gonna really make the protection on your lateral side for sure. This part, which is really very sucked in, the shank here, you can show it on the lateral design as well. In this area, you can give much more shadow so
Okay.
that you show also this is popping out and then this is getting in and then this is popping out again because it's really very narrow shank here.
Okay.
Okay, you could also do a little bit less if you want on this side at least so that it reflects only this little thing here. Now but it can also be like this because it is really sucked in. Yeah, it's
Yeah.
just I don't see it here, just here. You can give a little bit of more emphasis, on the shadow. And other than that, the distances are correct. The second material that's captured in is placed well. There is nothing wrong. Everything is correct. And the compression molding, I would keep it only on the rubber on this part. I think the rubber split is here, right?
Yeah.
Okay, so it's compression molding, it's fine. You don't, yeah, it is rubber, so it has to be compression. But then the EVA midsole and multicolor EVA foam midsole is going to be injection molding because we don't have the budget problem. So it's going to be, like it would be best if it's, high density on the black part and then lower density and squishy in the yellow zone so that it is captured inside. It's not going to collapse.
Yeah, I have a
And
question with that.
yeah,
So with like the yellow zone, you know how I have like that texture?
uh-huh.
Would that happen within the injection molding or would it
Yeah.
be after? Right.
Sure. It's gonna be done, like injected one over another in the same machine. Usually that's what is done. It's like co-injected. So that's why we don't have the glues and stuff. But still, after 22 years now, I think it's 21. Yeah, it's 21 years finished. And I still ask to the technicians. So every time we make a project, we give our design and we have to expect the feedback just to say, okay, am I in the good limits? What about here on the toe? Is this, like really too small? Or maybe I should open it up a little bit more. Or maybe I should close it on the toe side. It would be easier for them to inject it because in this area we have very close three parts, right?
Yeah.
That could be a little bit dangerous, but I don't go and do the mold technician myself because my philosophy is always I'm going to design as close as possible to the factory ready with the sections and everything, but I'm going to push a little bit. Like I'm going to be a little bit disturbing and I want to impose my design as much as possible so that they will try to find a way to solve this problem and just not escape to the easier solution for them. So it's kind of there's always a little bit of friction between the designer, the mold maker, and the sole producer.
Yeah.
So yeah, we should come to the sweet point where all of us are satisfied. So that's why I don't tell you, it's okay. I think it's better you close this because then we will have that. And then maybe you should give a 2 millimeters more here. It's safer. But I say, no, I will just send my design. They are very much in the limits. There is not a big problem here. They may say 1 millimeter more, and you will say, fine, 1 millimeter more, it's fine, right? So these are the communication when you are so try to be flexible with what they say about what you want. So another thing is I'm getting very into the details. The color dams too close to the perimeter are very dangerous all the time because we have a roundness around here always. It doesn't go 90 degrees. I can see on the design that it is kind of round, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So how would I just like make it a little smaller or
No, color downs to Google. Here I have done. I will send also this file. You will have it. On the round edges, it will create problems. Stay 6 to 7 millimeters far away from the edge. You will just, like take one in, stay a little bit away, just a little bit. Because if it was like a tennis shoe, like a Stan Smith, the problem is less because it goes really like without too much roundness. It just touches the ground like a skate sole. So you can stay also 5 mm from the edge, the first color dam.
okay.
But here I would go like 6, 7 because there's the roundness and the color dams on the roundnesses are really very, very dangerous. So we are with you since your design has nothing to, like to object or anything. It's all beautiful and everything is correct. I'm getting into the very, very details now, which you will use in your work life. Okay.
Thank you.
These designs, they can also go up to the other side, right? They would leak into the natural design, some of them. Like, for example, this one that could leak into the lateral side and the back of your sole could be yellow in this one as well. But then these, they should have more, all should have a little bit more distance. Okay.
Okay. Thank
Do
you.
you have, does anyone have other questions?
It was pretty much about like how I would go about executing like the molding. You pretty much
Uh-huh.
answered it. Yeah.
Yeah, I think, like everything is quite correct. The things that I have told you is something that the mold makers would say. And most probably in this area, we can have some questions
Yeah.
in this area. So what you can do is you can just finish it before it turns to the other side, but maybe it's not a problem. Maybe you will need more material. You can go and do a little bit less toe spring maybe and open it up a little bit, but then the proportions will change. You will not like it. There comes the moment to decide if to close it and keep the slim toe line, or just to open it up a little bit. You can do your considerations also by simulating them.
Yeah, 'cause I was pretty much following kind of like the guideline on the
Yes.
sheet that you sent us on the
Yes.
line. So that's
Mhm.
kind of how it came out very like super thin on the toe.
Yeah, you're in the limit. You can still go down, but it looks sexier this way, right? When
Yeah.
it's a chunky sole, to make the toe really like chunky, it looks really, it looks a little bit heavy.
Okay.
Now it's okay. Like I have given, and thank you for the line, because that is something sometimes missing in the designs. The ground line. So Sarah, Mission 6, she also made a selection of what she likes. So it's again kind of the 90s basketball. As you can see, she has also the parametric design. We can see that these are connected. We can see all the herringbone, the classical basketball herringbone texture going on, and then we have these interesting shapes. And here she's exploring some designs. I think this could be also sufficient for the first sketching phase. I do these also a lot. I don't do very small doodles. I usually make them a little bit smaller than A4 size. And this is what I do usually. I start with a lot of lateral designs. People can ask, you can ask, why lateral? Why don't we start with the bottom? I mean, everybody can do what they want, because if the bottom is the focus point of your sole, of course you should start with the bottom. But what we see together with the upper on the shelf when it is in a shop is the lateral. It's, the profile design is extremely important. The bottom design is as important as the lateral, but it is seen afterwards. When you go to a shop, when you go to Foot Locker, you see all the shoes. They are always just sitting on a shelf, and you see only the lateral, and it is integrated with the upper. So what I do is, like her, I do a lot of designs. There are interesting ideas here, and then she went with this one. As we can see, she started to do the black and white. She didn't do any colors, so I tried to color it a little bit. So this part, as you can see, it has this big toe cap, and then we have some pods of rubber. And then we have the injected EVA, which in this case could have been also compression, because it's not too big. It doesn't have too much undercuts. Everything is rounded. If we want, we can do that, but it's fine also injected EVA. And then she has this TPU here in the shank area, and then we have the heel stabilizer here, again the TPU. And then we have a bottom design, which is completely correct. There is nothing wrong, because she is, taking this texture thing and carrying it on her design, which is important. So these are my revisions. This top line of the TPU is a little bit dangerous, because as you can see, we have all these little movements, very small. Yes, it is injected. Yes, it's plastic, but it is still a bit dangerous. So what I would do, I would close the top line of the mold with a smooth line, and just start after nanomillimeters, just start with the lines, with all this, 3D effect, because I don't think, like even in the injections, so small and so repetitive, so sharp movements on top line in the production, it's very, very difficult. It will make a lot of waste. I think it will create problems. And another is the TPU in different color while sketching make you perceive the proportions better. I know that we sketch a lot in black and white, but look, when you put it into color, maybe now we have two parts that are too big and too close. Maybe it would have been better to make this a little bit smaller, right? I don't know if you agree. You start to see when you put the colors and split the materials, you start to see the relation of proportions between them. So, what I say is my recommendation when you're sketching, just have some markers, just try to put the colors in and see, okay, maybe this rubber is really huge, maybe I could make it a little bit smaller, or I like it this way and I'm going to keep it this way. Okay, but when I put the color in, it's different than what I see here. It's a little bit different. So this is also important. And as you can see here, we have a huge emptiness also in this one. This empty area is a little bit dangerous. It's just on the forefoot walking area. So I would recommend to put another pot here, maybe a smooth one without all these textures. You can do something different that is more communicating with this part. So you have here, doesn't have to touch the ground. It's fine, like the running soles, it's okay. Which in basketball, we don't have the emptiness, the hollow here, but it's okay. This is an urban sneaker. So if I don't want this to touch the ground, I can also do that. Or maybe this part, it can also touch the ground. So I can go and do this triangular area here so they could communicate as well. I don't think it would look bad. Another thing that I thought, okay, we have a TPU here in the middle. We can also just, like expose it in the bottom. Why not? It's not, of course, it's not obligatory, but why not? It's another color touch and showing the material that makes anti-torsion on shank, there are a lot of ways to show the materials, and why not? You can also not do that. It's, of course, it's not obligatory. It's just a recommendation, a level more in the design. And now we have an option B. We have a different toe cap, which in compression molding, if it's rubber, it's a bit dangerous because it's going really, really undercut. Maybe we should go a little bit less here. And again, here we have this big empty area on the forefoot walking area, make another pod. But also, I think I really like this design, maybe even more than the other as the bottom design. But I always repeat, I like is not even to consider, because liking is something very subjective, very, very personal. So I don't usually use my own voice on aesthetics. If you want to know, I can always tell you, I think this could have been better, this proportion would have been better, but I don't, usually tell people how to put their aesthetics down. Okay, are there any questions?
I actually have a question about the cutout that she put on the left bottom corner.
Uh-huh.
During work, I know I have to do that, but I've never been so confident about it. How important is that? That's accurate.
Yeah, I mean, in this one, if since this is basketball
Mm-hmm.
inspired, actually in basketball rules, we really don't have that. Okay. The basketball heels, they should be very stable. They should have a lot of contact on the ground, not too big, not too small. But this is an urban sneaker. So what she did is she has taken that famous S that we have and she finished the back of the sole like that, which is actually more the running and trail running thing. But why not? Okay, I have the basketball thing here. Maybe like in this one, I have all these textures which are like very basketball inspired. But as I said, this is an urban fashion sneaker. So I don't go and search all the basketball rules. So you can do this when we have a running or trail running,
Got it.
because this cut gives a little bit flexibility between these two big rubber pods. It opens up a bit. You're on a rock,
Uh-huh.
it opens up a bit and it adapts. So When it is all united, what happens is this is like I don't know, like a horseshoe, so it's not gonna flex or anything, so it's not gonna adapt to the ground a lot. So when I study the heels, I usually make cuts also this way,
Yes.
so that I have a little bit of flexibility around the heel. Not too much, but that little motion that could be, you know, like that could give me that flexibility on the ground, adaptation.
Thank you so much.
You're welcome.
Hi, I have one more question. For basketball sneakers, is much better when we have totally flat, touch it to ground.
Yes,
You can see we have this arc, small arc.
yes, yes.
What is better, like totally flat, or like it doesn't matter if it has this small arc?
Well, actually, for the professional basketball performance soles, you saw also on the course, they are touching the ground, also on the shank area. Maybe just in the middle, you can do some anti-torsion, some TPU doesn't have to touch the ground, but the perimeter, yes, it is touching the ground and it is flat because a lot of weight and height, they just jump and then they just land, right? So on the around the sole on the perimeter, we really have need a lot of stability. It should just stick on the ground. But now, as I said, this is a basketball inspired urban fashion sole. So that's why I don't look for every performance rule to be applied to these soles, okay?
Okay, I understand. Thank you.
You can take your inspiration and interpret it. You can also say, listen, okay, I want to get inspired by the bottom design and the performance rules of basketball. Then, as Christina, that's what I'm gonna do. In Mission 4, we are more on performance rules. That's a brief that I did for really to apply the trekking rules and do something luggy with the lugs. So there we have all the performance rules. It's not a fashion sneaker, but this one should be fun, and it should take basketball just as inspiration, so it's fine. Okay. Also, this one, you know, like it's not to play basketball, you know, you don't need all this stuff. And this is, you know, like we don't have all this rubber in basketball, but we had it in the 70s, you know, the Converse thing. So you can see, you can feel it. You can feel it on your skin that it is coming from basketball. So that's enough. That would be enough. It's you deciding what to keep, what to interpret from this sport.
And I have one more question. When I work it in footwear manufacturing, it sometimes happens that people they just don't want to do, not open to something new. It's hard to push on your option, and because these people say it's not possible, but it's possible. You know, how do you push on mold?
It's a good question. If you are sure that some manufacturing or some molding issues can be done, you should explain them. You should make a video call, some sections, your ideas which are written on your paper, right? Like for example, let's go back to Jesus design. Let's say that they say, oh yeah, but this is okay. And then you say, listen, I have enough material here. I have enough material there. If this is too small between them, just tell me how many millimeters. And then I will study a solution. But if it is really not feasible and you really don't know, okay, because it might be that sometimes you really don't know every detail of mold making. But if they are something really like feasible and they're telling you that it's not, I mean, I get really angry, first of all, because you believe that I don't know my job, I don't know my work, and you are trying to push me and change my design just because it is of your convenience. Even if the solution is there, just tell me how much it's going to cost. What is your problem? Just tell me. What is let them explain very technically what is because since we can do this, and this sole has this, you can also put some images of the soles that they have this kind of detail that you like. But Christina, we have to know that not every sole producer and not every mold maker can do the same thing that you see on a photo. That's a factory that they cannot do that. Then you should change manufacturer.
Okay.
It's really complex because the same product, a factory does it really well, the other one, they don't want to do it. They say no, not because it's not possible, because either they don't have the machine part for that, or maybe they have it, but they see more problems than profit, so they don't want to do that. So we moved to Thai. She's very hardworking student. We had also looked at her designs, and she's also going on the winter sole. It is more like really like the winter sole sneaker. And she also chose some images that she likes as reference of look of how the whole shoe and the sole is gonna look like. So we have the sipings, the cuts of the winter tires. So it's there. So we have a lot of very rough sketches, beautiful ones. She has this free hand that is helping her a lot because I can see the flow state. I can see all this exploration of different laterals, different proportions that she's trying. Like, for example, I really love this one. And also this one is very interesting. And then what she does is she goes and chooses one of them. And then from here, I can see, okay, I have a lateral 1 and lateral 2. And then I start to do some button designs. 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3. So this is a perfect, like Jesus that did, a perfect way of working. Don't try to be perfect. Don't try to do all the details. Just sketch, you know, like really like the pods and areas. Just the first level, then you will perfection it. You will put the cuts and everything. But here I start to do the graphic, the empty and the full areas. That's how everything begins. And then now we have the design, which is black and white, and we have all the explanations on it, and we already have the texture. So there's a lot of hours of work here. I was asking her why the toe is like that. It's just flat, and then it gets an it is wrapped over the upper, so that's why she designed it flat open. It's not that the toe is like that. And we see that the lateral has a very high arch, yeah, which is okay. But then now we will see some of the problematics that I have seen in this design, that I went and did some revisions. So this is the colored version, where we can see that these light areas are touching the ground and this darker area is the base rubber. And then we have the shank area, and we have this nude color is the TPU, which we see also in the bottom in the exposed area in the shank, which is a good idea, of course, to show if we have it. It's a glossy TPU. Okay, I think it's a very interesting lateral design, also very wavy and very organic. But then in the bottom we have really like tire inspired big pods for the snow and winter soles. She's following that. She followed the rules in this case. And then we have some color combinations also for the lateral design, which is interesting to see. Maybe like a women's version, and then we have a unisex version. Now this is my these are my considerations. Even if the design looks spectacular, you look at it and then afterwards you get deep into the details and try to understand the walking, the motion, the parts that should touch the ground. I have seen some very big empty areas. So if we go back, like for example, we have only these two, which are split, okay. But then I have huge big empty areas around here. So the perimeter isn't very stable. You see, you are just walking on these two, and then you have this is very big with no cuts that will do any flex. So that is something that I wanted to show. And I said, maybe it's better you do 3 big lugs
Mhm.
so that it is very stable and it is very regular. And we have another 3 here. And then we will rearrange everything that's in the middle. They can be like this with all the asymmetrical taste that she has. The back side doesn't have big problems. It's okay. We have bigger, like lugs, but it is all covered and the distance is just in the limit. It's a very, very self-cleaning sole. So whatever mud or snow gets in, it goes out easily. So the requirements of performance on snow are there, they are covered. So it's good. And what I have recommended is to add the inclinations because as you can see, everything looks very flat and looks like they go down 90 degrees. Instead, she has some inclinations around here. So we have to show it like a second line here. I know that it's not very easy, but we have to understand that the part that is touching the ground and then the part that is touching the rubber on the bottom. So we have this inclination. I hope that this is helpful to understand. So what we have to do is to give the inclinations all around like I have done here. I didn't apply it on all of them, but we should do them all of them because they are very big and imagining them going down 90 degrees, it's not even self-cleaning. So that is just to add like this one, not to leave it like this, but make the inclinations. Like for example, she did it here. She has the inclinations and then we see the hollow, the hole that shows the TPU. So this is all correct. And also here on the length of this lug is too small. It's gonna break most probably. So we should make it a little bit longer. And also making this part longer, we have the shank that has the right distance. Now it's too long. Okay. Another thing that I said at cuts, rubber is too smooth. We should add draining grooves and for anti-slip. So it's better to give some incisions on top of very smooth areas like this, like she did here. This is correct. These are correct. Also, this pod is so big, it doesn't flex. It's very, very sturdy. So it's better to cut it into two pieces. And then, like we need to add a little bit of cuts here and there. And then I said that this top line here, there's this part is a little bit weird. Maybe we can do it a little bit smoother in this area. And then here I can see that she added color dams on the EVA, and I said no color dams on EVA, make painting area. So it would be easier to make these areas where we have the lines that they are inside, they are recessed in negative, and just to paint them. Very easy to paint, very visible the area. It's very well defined. So that's what we can do. And after she had her private vision, Tale also reworked on the design. I really appreciated. Really, thanks for the commitment. So it's also here we had a problem. This part was too undercut. Was really difficult to trim and to realize. So she corrected it. We are just in the limit now. It is still, like beautiful. I think maybe we should smoothen up a little bit here where we have the rubber, right? I think this is very trimmable, very organic. It's beautiful. You can put some color here inside. And she added also the shadows under the positive area so you can clearly see what's up and what's down. And then now we have a bottom that is functioning perfectly, Tae, because this one is absolutely very good for snow. There is nothing missing. There is nothing wrong. We have all the draining channels. We have these cuts, which are giving us more flexibility, more draining. You split it up, all this situation. Now I think this is perfect for snow. There's nothing to revise anymore.
Thank you. That's a relief.
Yes, that's now it looks really good. It looks really good. I mean, I like this design as well, I should tell you, because I like the asymmetrical and chaotic look in the bottom area. Okay, this part. But then of course, after having all these informations, maybe it was easier to make it a little bit more regular, right?
Yeah.
get rid of the
Not fitting
panel.
in very well, or I had to make a different design at each time. So
Yeah, yeah. It's just maybe this part just maybe you should come also in the internal side until here. The
got it.
plugs. Now this part is really long, right?
I got it.
Okay. I see that you really studied also the texture thing. It's, you know, it's giving that rich touch to the organic taste of the soul. I really like it. Thank you. Are there any questions? Okay, I move on. So we see also some color applications here, which is something that you can always do. It's really worth doing because you can achieve really different looks, as you can see here. Maybe Taya, you can also try, you know, like a total black one. Who knows how it's gonna come out, or maybe yeah, you can do something where this plastic is really very, very flashy, you know, like something that's not doing the harmony with the others, but it's really standing alone.
Okay.
That could be really interesting also. But once you have the file, right, to change the colors, it's just a game. It's just playing. Yeah.
It's unlimited.
Yeah. Yeah. There we go. Okay, thank you. And now let's look at the mission 6 of Tae again. And now it's a work in progress. That's why I have put your, you know, like sketches, 2 sketches in one page, just to show everyone today that we are many people, just to show them the, you know, I think I appreciate this kind of working. Again, a lot of ideations, a lot of different views of how you see the shoe, how you see the sole. So what Tai is doing here, she's already imagining everything together. So this is I think is an excellent kind of work, which also in my professional life, what I do is when they ask me to design a sole, I already think also the upper, or vice versa. They ask me an upper and I have to design also the sole together with that, or I have to have the sole so that I can start with the sole and draw my lines for the upper. They are inseparable. So as you can see, she explored a lot of stuff. I think this part is really, really nice and very design, very conceptual approach. And then now she has chosen a lateral. We even see the top, you know, the top view of the toe part and how she studied the upper together with the sole. And then we have some ideation of the bottom design. And then we have some color explorations, and why not? And still it's not finished, right, Taye? Because
No, it's not.
yeah, so this is still a work in progress. And I have given her just little tips, you know, but they are very little. I think she's very in the limit of the distances. There is nothing non-injectable. Again, like this is like the soul of Jesus, where we have 2 different densities. Maybe the one which is inside yellow can be a little bit softer, not too much, a little bit softer. And the rest is like a Crocs material. It's all injected, so why not, you know? You can also do a sole that is almost like a clog and it goes over the upper. Maybe we can have some issues here around. They are too thin. They might say something or not, but you just go and do your design and then you will see together with the technician what they say.
Gotcha.
And I really like also this ideation where we have the texture, which is, you know, like we take this texture, we can play around it, we can turn it, toss it, you know, you can do a lot of stuff also here. Texture and the sole design together. So I think these are really like good examples also to inspire everyone here just to see the mood, you know, like the process of thinking. This is very important. Then we go and do the illustrator work, we perfection everything, but this is already, it's here. In this page, we already designed the thing.
I really have fun with it. Like, I
Huh?
never get to really do this in my professional work because I
Yeah.
have to pump things out on Illustrator a lot. So this was having a lot of fun.
Yeah, I think these are for everyone I'm talking, for every designer here I'm talking, these are the most precious pages that you should have in your portfolio. always. Because here, there is something emotional. I can see in these lines how the designer was fast in drawing, and it's emotional. It's like someone doing music and you are hearing it for the first time, like you see the whole process. So these are the most important and precious pages that you can have. Never throw them away, put them always in your portfolio. They are super valuable. This is where the authenticity lies. This is where I can see the designer who is really like, you don't have to have this excellent free hand drawing. It's really a big advantage, but if you do not have it, doesn't matter. You will come to this point anyway, right? Because we have the tools. We even have the AI, which is going to make you the perfect thing. And then from there, you can restart drawing. Because I didn't get into the details because Taya will finish all the design and everything. And then we will re-see it again in the next revision with all the materials, injections, and all that stuff. But I wanted to show it anyway as a work process of design and concept.
Thank you.
Are there any questions? So it is the one with the lugs. So I really like the sneaker look. It doesn't look really like a winter sole or a very technical sole, but we still have the lugs. So what I did is, first of all, we should have the ground line, because when we put the ground line, which this is floating, when I put the ground line, I start to see. So these are also different. You see, I mean, this, if this is a little bit less problematic, this one, I can see that this leg is going out, this also. Since sole design is about perfection, I have to see that everything is touching the ground correctly, which here we have a little bit of problems. And also I realized that there is a problem of projection between the lateral lugs to the bottom view. So we have to redistribute the lugs, but this is something that happens very often when we look at the one that's touching the ground and the distance between them. We start with the contrary, and this is what happens, you see? Because this one is touching the ground, this one is touching the ground, I corrected them, and this should be the hollow. But just the one mistake that we do, and we take the positive area as negative, everything goes wrong. Okay. So this is something that happens very often, and I had this also mistake many times in my life. So what I do is I try to first do my first log. I have to take it correctly, which is popping out and which is getting in, so that I don't do the sequence in the contrary. That is something that I can recommend you be very careful with the first log, so that it pops out, so that the rest is gonna fall right. Because otherwise I'm gonna do the whole design and say, oh God, I just did it in the contrary. What's touching the ground and what's not are contrary now. So be careful about that. So that is something that he should correct here. And also here, I think we have too many logs. I think this is going to be the same. We will have a little bit less and distribute it correctly. From this part on, it's going well. From this part back, we have to redistribute them, and we have to take out one log. And of course here, it's okay. We have the perimeter lugs. They can be a little bit more sturdy actually, but let's leave it like that. We have the lugs in the middle, but then between them, we have this huge hollow. There is nothing touching the ground, so this is not correct. He should keep on drawing and adding some. Now I have just done very representative triangles. You can do anything that is gonna fill between these, let's say, areas. And also here, this part should be covered until the back of the forefoot. We should have another leg here. This should come down a little bit. This part is too long. All this part is not touching the ground. It's not very good in this sense. And also here, we have to be careful again. There's a projection that's not following the profile design. I think the profiles are fine. This one and that one, like it looks very sneakery, everything. This is more like a boot. It could be even polyurethane with rubber, or it could be an EVA. And also these big rubber pots, they can have some textures, they can have some cuts and draining, like tire design here. You see, we have these. So we have these cuts. So it would be good also to put it there in these areas. They are too, like they are too slippery if they are without anything that drains. The water gets captured here and it could be a little bit more slippery. Yeah, I mean, these are the first considerations I have about this sole. So he can take all these and redesign the whole thing and make the bottom design correctly without any problems. And also, since the design came to me like this without any explanation, but I really appreciate the effort because I received it in the last hours and it's fine. It's nice. It can be an intermediate revision now. Now, from this part, I also expect the material explanation. I expect a little bit the explanation of what the shank is all about. Is this a plastic? Is this a recessed area? Is it negative? Is it touching the ground? It's not very clear. It's not touching the ground because we have this arch here. But then what's happening here? Then what about this part? This cannot be hollow because this should break. So what's going to happen here? Is it going down? So these are like the details that we need to finish before sending it to a mold maker or to a client, but it's okay. For until now, I have given all my points, all my revisions, so that now from here, he can design the whole bottom again. And also here we have some of the logs with inclination. These are a little bit with inclination, but then these go down 90. It's better to make a sequence where we have all the inclinations right, because otherwise some of them are squared and some of them are conic, and it's not okay. We should have a regularity. So the sole design, the designs are revised. So I want to show some fun stuff because we have mission 7. For the ones who are starting now and they still did not get into mission 7, I just wanted to show you it's a very fun mission, which is about fashion after the fashion class. And we are looking at mixing something sporty with something extremely fashionable, like a high heel, or maybe like here, like a loafer or some classical shoe. And I said you can use Photoshop or you can use AI, because now we have a lot of artificial intelligence programs where you can give 2 or 3 images and it's going to mix it up. There is nothing wrong with that. It is still an exercise to using with AI. It's like a junior designer, and then you decide which one you like and you can put it into Photoshop and you can redesign it a little bit. But I think these are really nice examples of how we work on AI also. So this is the Prada Flame Wedge Heel and then the Puma Maze, and how things are, like mixed up. I think in 2024 on Midjourney, she already did it last year. It's a personal so you mix up things with Midjourney, it generates you new stuff. This is also prompted Midjourney to transform those images above into injected EVA soled shoe. We have another Manolo Blahnik with the this shoe that I cannot even pronounce. So it's an ASICS very complex sole design, and what she did, I don't know how these came out, but they have been, like they are not really like high heel like that, but they are mixed up in a different way. And then we can decide how to make them, if they are TPU, if they are wedge, if they're, I mean, it doesn't matter now what they are gonna be, but these are really like nice inspirations. And from here, I can start designing, really like putting it onto the last, looking at my budget, which materials I can use, is it user friendly, is it getting good in my brief. This is the whole project making process will begin after this. But this is a really like a nice playground where we can create mixing up things together. And this is Jesus. I really love this. Look at them. It's incredible, right? I was like, okay, as a designer, I'm really amazed when I see the AI work. It's something that we can control up to some point. So, can you explain a little bit, is which programs you used, how you prompted? I also want to learn from you.
Yeah, so for this one, I don't know if you've heard of it, Viscom.
Yes, yes, sure. I use it
So yeah,
sometimes.
there's like a setting where you basically take both images
Uh-huh.
and then you're able to fuse them. And
Uh,
then each image, there's like a percentage you could take out of each image. So like for instance, like the heel, I would want like 100%, and
uh-huh.
then let's say the Solomon 50%. So I'll take like 50% of like the Solomon element and apply it to the heel. So
Uh-huh.
you're able to like use different percentages. It's not necessarily like a prompt that you're like typing what you want. It's more of
Yeah.
like percentages of like which design you want more to stand out.
It's really amazing. I love also the upper designs. Yeah. I
Yeah,
mean,
yeah,
of course, most of them are undoable. There are things that you cannot explain. What are these things? And you say, what is that? But you are a designer. You take this, like, for example, I think I really love this one because I like clean stuff. Okay. Everybody has their own um, uh, taste. Okay. So I really love this one. I see it very feasible. Not the upper, maybe the upper could be go somewhere, between these and that. Okay. But this one is spectacular, of course. But as a designer, you can look at this, analyze this, try to understand what to eliminate. Maybe there's too much stuff going on. You can eliminate these little guys here. You don't need them. And you start to redesign it, right? You would start to sketch it from here. You can do your stuff now. This is like I call it the junior designer who doesn't know about molding or stitching of the uppers. They don't know anything. They're just doing the creative graphic work. And then you, as a designer who knows how things are done, you will put your hands on it and you will make it feasible. So that's why I think these works are really very inspiring. They are inspiring and they are giving you some details, some ideas that then you should start from zero again to design, right?
yeah.
That's the thing that we cannot avoid. And then we have these are beautiful as well. Like look at this, so simple.
Yeah,
Uh,
so for that one, I actually used OpenAI. So I actually wrote a prompt for this one.
okay.
This one was different than the previous one.
Yes, I really, really love these. I mean, of course, they are not very, very different. You have the plateau, like this part, the four part, which is taking it from Air Jordan, and then we have the elegance of Prada. But like this is what the mission was all about. Let's mix things up. Let's not stay just in one. Okay, since it is fashion, it's fashion. No, we have sports and we have fashion that can be blended perfectly. That is the project that I've been teaching in Istituto Europeo del Design. It's called IED in Milano. It's one of the best schools on design. And this is what we do. We take a sport and we take another fashion or art or whatever second theme, which is authentic and personal. And we start to mix up things and we do one sneaker, one high heel, and maybe one kind of a combat boot sole. So really spectacular things come out. I think sport is a mega trend that we cannot avoid. I think it's really nice to mix them up together in this creative way. So this is also, I think you did it with OpenAI, right?
Yeah, so for this one, it was Viscom, like the
Ah,
first
okay.
one. Yeah,
Oh,
so
okay, okay. Yeah, these are, can you see this? They are really like, they are really feasible. Come on, like there's really little to change and they are factory ready, most of them. Very little things to change, maybe make it a little bit simpler, but they are there.
yeah,
I would also see with Photoshop, take this one, only the sole, and put it under this. put it
Okay.
under a very, you know, like this sling back, the Prada, and then this sole. Because now this is too Nike because of the upper. That is something
Yeah.
that you couldn't control.
It
But
kind of looks like a soccer cleat. Like,
yeah, yeah, that's true. That's true. But you know, like you can take these and just mount it on this shoe. I think it's gonna give even more. I think it would be more balanced
yeah.
because you will have this very recognizable, very classical upper, and then boom, you have the sole. This would be really like very, very interesting. But good job, really. Thank you for the effort. I hope you had fun and it has been useful also for
Yeah,
your.
yeah. No, it was fun. No, thank you.
Okay. Also, yeah, I mean these elements, they could I mean I would start designing without using the AI. After this, I would start designing really with the pencil and start with all these info that all the input that I have here. It's very exciting to start all over, you know, like from the zero and start to design again.